Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, welcome everyone. Nice to have you with us, joining again for Bhagavatam Bites. We have a special guest with us today, Lord Chaitanya. There's another special guest. Maybe you'd like to introduce.
Yeah, this is one of my very early on mentees, Naimisharanya Devi Dasi from ISKCON Mauritius.
Oh.
And dear friend, she's done so much service for their lordships over the years, and so much service in Mauritius, and such a dedicated devotee. So we're very honored and grateful to have her here with us today, and she agreed to do Bhagavatam Bites, so everyone should be prepared. She's going to enliven and inspire everyone.
She's very excited.
So excited.
She was here. What year were you here?
2006 to 2009.
Yeah, so she's done a lot of service here at ISKCON London.
It's under their guidance and aspiration and inspiration that we have been able to go through these days in London. So I'm so grateful to both of you, and always happy to be under your care, and to be still somehow under your care. And thank you so much for that.
Vishnu, Vishnu, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Okay, so we're going to read. Where are we at?
It's reading? Canto 3, Chapter 20, Text 25.
Okay.
Chapter is Conversation between Maitreya and Vidura.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay, text 25. He approached the personality of Godhead, who bestows all boons and who dispels the agony of his devotees and of those who take shelter of his lotus feet. He manifests his innumerable transcendental forms for the satisfaction of his devotees. So, just recap, Brahma has approached Krishna because he's creating the universe, and he produced demons out of his bottom and stuff, and they're trying to eat him now. That's a recap, but it's the truth. So this is the Bhagavatam. So purport.
Freaking.
Hear the words. Bhaktanam anurupatma darshanam mean that the personality of Godhead manifests his multiforms according to the desires of the devotees. For example, Hanumanji Vajrangaji wanted to see the form of the Lord as the personality of Godhead Ramachandra, whereas other Vaishnavas wanted to see the form of Radha Krishna, and still other devotees want to see the Lord in the form of Lakshmi Narayan. The Mayavadi philosophers think that although all these forms are assumed by the Lord just as the devotees desire to see him, actually he is impersonal. From Brahma Samhita, however, we can understand that this is not so, for the Lord has multi-forms. It is said in the Brahma Samhita Advaitam Achutam, the Lord does not appear before the devotee because of the devotee's imagination. Brahma Samhita further explains that the Lord has innumerable forms, Ramadi Murtesu Kala Niyamena Tishtam. He exists in millions and millions of forms. There are 8,400,000 species of living entities, but the incarnations of the Supreme Lord are innumerable. In the Bhagavatam, it is stated that as the waves in the sea cannot be counted but appear and disappear continually, the incarnations and forms of the Lord are innumerable. A devotee is attached to a particular form, and it is said that form which he worships. We have just described the first appearance of the boar within this universe. There are innumerable universes, and somewhere or other the boar form is now existing. All the forms of the Lord are eternal. It is the devotee's inclination to worship a particular form, and he engages in devotional service to that form. In a verse in the Ramayana, Hanuman, the great devotee of Ram, said, I know that there is no difference between the Sita Ram and Lakshmi Narayan forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but nevertheless the form of Ram and Sita has absorbed my affection and love. Therefore I want to see the Lord in the forms of Ram and Sita. Similarly, the Gaudiya Vaishnava loves the forms of Radha and Krishna, and Krishna and Rukmini at Dwarka. The words Bhaktanam Anurupatmam Darshanam means that the Lord is always pleased to favor the devotee in the particular form in which the devotee wants to worship and render service unto him. In this verse, it is stated that Brahma approached Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This form of the Lord is Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. Whenever there is some trouble and Brahma has to approach the Lord, he can approach Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, and it is the grace of the Lord that whenever Brahma approaches about disturbances in the universe, the Lord gives him relief in so many ways.
Wow, what a purport. Any thoughts?
Yeah, it's funny how Krishna, like we were saying, is like the father, and Brahma, everyone else, obviously, you could say like children, so every time they're in trouble, you run there, help me, right? And he's there. Prabhupada says he's always there to give some relief in so many ways. Because like the father, like we were explaining before, when you do service and you give other people opportunity, it's natural. Some things go well, some things they don't know. So then, in a nice, proper mood, I guess, is to go back to the former, well, will you say leaders, whatever, to say, look, this went wrong, what shall we do? And he does it the correct way, Brahma. He does go back. He could have ignored Krishna or Vishnu and said, oh, these demons have been created, and make it even more of a mess. But because of his humility, he's able, even though he's obviously the most senior person after Krishna as far as creating and that, but out of his humility, he goes back to the leader and says, look, I made a mess up here, can you help me? In this nice, proper way, nice mood.
Interesting, yeah, very nice. Anything else? Any thoughts? Other than Fine. Well, I thought that there was a couple of interesting points. One is that, Prabhupada stresses this, Bhaktanam Anurupatma Darshanam. And he says that if we break it down, Bhaktanam, so Bhakta for the devotee, Anam, Anurupatma, so Rupa means form, so he appears and gives Darshanam. So the Lord appears in varieties of forms according to the desire of the devotee. Of the bhakta. So it shows how merciful the Lord is, that he's willing to manifest himself in so many varieties of ways just to attract the bhakta. And Prabhupada gives that example of Hanuman, right? And he says, Hanuman's like, I know Sita and Ram are the same as Lakshmi and Narayan, and of course Sita and Ram are worshipping Lakshmi and Narayan, but still I'm attracted to Sita and Ram. So there's so many different forms. Of course, Ramadi Mortishu Kalana Yainma Tishtan, that verse from the Govindam prayers. What is it? What are the Govindam prayers from? What's the...
What was it? Govindam Adi Prayers. Which one?
No, but what is it called? It's not the Govindam prayers. We call it the Govindam prayers. Brahma Samhita, thank you. So like that. But also then there's another, this other point about, that there are so many different incarnations, as many as waves in the ocean. It's like unlimited, the number of incarnations of the Lord. So, so I just thought those 2 points stood out for me. It was the other point also, that at any time, although Lord Bor may not be here in this universe right now, but somewhere in the universe that's going on, and if you think that from Mahavishnu, unlimited universes are manifesting from his pores, and there's always, the pastimes are always going on somewhere. Which, if you get into kind of all different ideas of, when we see science fiction types thing, the idea of parallel universes and different things happening. And when I recently did this course with Oxford Center of Hindu Studies on Gaudiya Vaishnavism, one of the things that was discussed was about our perception of time versus the perception of time given by the kind of Abrahamic religions, or the Judeo-Christian perspective, which is quite linear. God created the earth, or created the world, came into creation, and then it's going to annihilate at some point, and that's the end. Ours is that everything's going in a cycle.
Cycle, come back, yeah.
And not only is it going in a cycle here, but there are unlimited universes that is going in cycles there. And they all come into being and go out of being and come into being again. And when you leave your body, the soul can not only travel inside of this universe, but it could wind up in any universe. So the experience of time is so variegated, which is why for devotees, if like when we just read this pastime about the appearance of Lord Bor, but it's described in one place that he's I think it's a Shukla, that he's white. In another place it's described that he's red. And one might think, well, that's a contradiction. But for devotees, there's no big contradiction, because he can appear in one universe in red, and he can appear in another universe as white, or in one yuga or age he can appear in these different colors. So whereas in the linear idea, if something seems to be out of place, it kind of it can shatter faith. Yeah. You know, does that make sense? Because it seems like a contradiction, like, oh, if the date that Jesus appeared was different, you know, oh my goodness, then the whole thing becomes shaky. But for us, it's like, okay, so maybe he appeared then, maybe he appeared then. The date is not so important. He appeared. He appears in every...
As per his own sweet will, yeah.
That's right.
Wherever he wants, whenever he wants.
That's
it's up to him.
That's up to him. Perfect, yeah. Anyway, sorry, I rambled on as usual. Would you like to read 26?
Okay. Lord Brahma, approaching the Lord, addressed him thus: My Lord, please protect me from this sinful demon, who were created by me under your order. They are infuriated by an appetite for sex and have come to attack me. Purport. It appears here that the homosexual appetite of male for each other is created in this episode of the creation of the demon by Brahma. In other words, the homosexual appetite of man for another man is demoniac and is not for any sane male in the ordinary course of life.
So we saved this verse just for Mother Nami Sharanya when she came, so she could tackle these, you know, controversial topics that arise in the Bhagavatam, you know. So, yes, Mother, please, your purport.
What is your opinion?
My opinion? No, I'm just thinking that, okay, Bhagavatam already mentioned about it, so it's not something new. It's
Very
not something
nice.
that it's happening now these days, right? And the surprising thing, it's coming from creation time. Yeah,
so it's from the beginning. It's not something
that has been concocted by man. So Brahma created it. So now, how should we approach this type of people? And should we just neglect them because of this when it has been created by the Lord? So that's a question to you, Prabhu.
Prabhu.
That's a nice point.
That's just my realization.
I think it's a brilliant point. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, that it's not something new, and it's from the time of creation. And even if you look at the verse, it says, "My Lord, please protect me." Okay, who were created by me under your order. So that's really powerful. So it isn't something new. It isn't something that
has been concocted by man.
Yeah, concocted by man, and the social structure has caused this to come about. Yeah, there's this kind of and what is it again on this course that I did? We were discussing that in the Bhagavad philosophy, there's always a third type of sex. There's male, there's female, and then there's Krishna, I forget the name, but those who are mixed.
Binary.
Binary? Is that what it's called?
That's what it is on the forms now.
Oh, okay, on the form.
You have to tick a box: male, female, binary, or other.
Yeah, other. Yeah. Anyway, on forms, that's not the point. But gosh, I've forgotten the name. now. Anyway, if someone remembers, you can write it in the comments. But yeah, it means there's a third sex type, which is neither male nor female. So it's either mixed or it's kind of like that. Or like at the moment, I'm listening to Mahabharat audiobook, which is really good. I can't recommend it enough. This is Krishna Dharma Peruse. It's really good. I mean, it's very long. It's like 39 hours maybe on it. So I'm already completed like a good 10, 12 hours of it. But at the moment, there's a section where the last year that the Pandavas had to be in exile, so they were in exile for 12, and then the 13th year they could live in society, but they had to be incognito.
Yeah.
So Arjuna was a eunuch. Yeah. And I was like, okay, yeah, I've heard this term so many times, because the eunuchs are what, also in like Islamic tradition, they would protect the harems.
Okay.
So they would be like Kshatriya type people, but I always understood that they had been castrated, so they couldn't actually reproduce. But as it's being described in the Mahabharata, he's dressed as a woman.
Yeah, he's dressed as a woman.
And also, I know when I was in India, there used to be people that would come on the trains sometimes and different things, and they said they would always invite them to weddings. They were considered auspicious. They were like kind of considered like she males or he females or something like that.
I forgot the name as well. How's it called?
Yeah, but I think they often did call them eunuchs there. So they were like men that dressed like women. So it's an inclination that's not new. I greatly appreciate and value that contribution. It's not something new. That's really powerful.
But then also a powerful point Namishona made is it's not new. So the point is, so how do we deal with this?
Yeah, but it's also coming from God. So it's also coming from divinity. So it's not now. Everything comes from God. So the good, bad, and the ugly all comes from God. Now the challenge is this statement, which can be taken obviously derogatorily, as mentioned here, which is that it's demoniac. So now we have to look at what is the demoniac mentality. The demoniac mentality is that mentality which is against the concept of Dharma, or God in one sense. So if you're atheistic means I'm against theism, I'm against the principle of God. So the idea is that, and I remember having this conversation with senior devotee once, and they were saying that whether you're heterosexual or bisexual or homosexual or whatever sexual you are, for us the principle is that we're meant to be trying to give up the propensity to want to engage in sex life for any purpose really other than procreation, because it becomes a distraction from service to God. So if someone has the inclination to be so absorbed in sex life, whether it's with male or female or whatever, then that becomes demoniac in the sense that it's pulling us away from Dharma and the propensity to love and serve God. So like that. Yeah. That's one thought. Anyway, any other thoughts? No? Anyway, it's a very powerful statement. And of course Brahma is afraid and they're coming after him. So one might say that, of course, if someone is so driven by sex that they go and try to attack their own father for sex.
For sex, yeah.
That's not really considered.
Demoniac.
It's demoniac. I mean, and I guess in any way you look at it, of course, Kali Yuga hasn't progressed to the point yet where that's kind of considered okay. So, but anyway, maybe we'll move on to the next verse. Should we read one more? Or should we call
sure. So you can.
Is it? Okay.
You can quickly read it.
Thank you.
He likes his purports. That's not
what
reflection mood.
Reflection mood.
That's a nice way to put it.
Sorry, here I am surrounded by people letting me know subtly and kindly I talk too much. Okay, 27. My Lord, you are the only one capable of ending the affliction of the distressed and inflicting agony on those who never resort to your feet My Lord, you are the only one capable of ending the affliction of the distressed and inflicting agony on those who never resort to your feet. The words kleshadas tesham anasana padam tava indicate that the Lord has two concerns. The first is to give protection to persons who take shelter of his feet, his lotus feet. And the second is to give trouble to those who are always demoniac and who are inimical toward the Lord. Maya's function is to give afflictions to the non-devotees. Here Brahma said, you are the protector of the surrendered souls. Therefore I surrender under your lotus feet. Please give me protection from these demons. Interesting. Any thoughts? Not sure on your anything? Everyone wants to hear from you.
Just the assurance that the Lord is, first of all, He gives protection to the person who takes shelter in His lotus feet. So in a sense, like when we try to surrender to the Lord, so we have some priority in His eyes, yeah? So He's always giving that protection to us. So it's one assurance that we can get from this verse, like irrespective of what will happen, if we have started that journey of surrendering ourselves to the Lord, so we will be favored by His divine eyes, yeah.
Wow, very nice.
Very nice.
Very nice. You'd like to add anything?
And I'm thinking of the second part is...
good.
Sorry.
No,
please.
And the second part is to give trouble to those who are always demoniac. So, in the sense of viewing this, it's the Lord's mercy, because somehow or the other, unless we get several kicks from the world, will we ever consider to surrender ourselves to the Lord?
Yeah.
So, this is also the Lord's mercy
Yeah.
to the, like he said, the demoniac person, or let's say like the non-devotees. But something that just came in my mind now, so how shall we take it? Krishna is also giving trouble to the devotees as well. Then maybe just with our faith we can understand that even the happiness and even the distress or everything that Krishna is doing, even his kick, can be a blessing for us, because we have something to learn from it. We have something to experience through it, to go through it, part of our purification, and maybe just a start of something wonderful which is awaiting for us ahead of this, So basically, whether Krishna is giving us protection or He's giving us trouble, it's His mercy at the end of the day. We just imbibe it, we just accept it, and then we just learn something through it.
Nice.
Yeah, because even like you're saying, why, demoniac people get kicked, but why devotees? But if we're honest, sometimes we need the kicks too, because we can get comfortable and we can get in our comfort zone, and sometimes we need to be woken up and reminded, why are you on this path anyway, because there's a lot of fringe benefits taken to this path. You can get very comfortable, and Krishna is very kind. So yeah, we all need a little transcendental kick. Not too much, but yeah.
Yeah, well, what's the purpose of the kicks and the agony and distress is to cure the inappropriate mentality, So to move us, pain is injected to cause us to move away from something that we're doing incorrectly. Touching something hot means, ow, I won't do it again. So that curative treatment, in the 10th canto, I think it's 14th chapter, the prayers of Lord Brahma Tatenu Kampam Susamikshimano, that famous verse, then the purport there explains that this, when the Lord inflicts His kind of punishment on a devotee, that it's a curative treatment. It's like it's a medicine. It's medicinal to help to cure the devotee of the last vestiges of the propensity to enjoy this material world separate from him. So it's like sometimes we think, we get comfortable and we think, I can enjoy here, but no.
Not for long.
Not for long. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else you were going to say?
Yeah, and I was just thinking of the Shikshashtakam finally.
Oh,
so
okay.
my dear Lord, whether you embrace me or kick me,
right,
so at the end of the day, you remain my sweet Lord.
Ah, my sweet Lord. Yeah. Yes, very good. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was
very nice.
for joining us. So nice to have you here with us.
Wish I could have this more fun, yeah.
Oh, we have to see.
When you come back to the UK
So that I
again.
can join the live.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much for having me part of this wonderful Bhagavatam Bite. It's been enlivening.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.